The next section is where Rubberbones meets the Faceless Fiend. He does not know he's going to meet the Faceless Fiend. As far as he's concerned, he is to take a message to meet someone called Mr. Brown at a pub. And if he can, take a photo of him. He tapped at the door. "Come!" The voice was deep and educated. Rab tiptoed in. There was one gas lamp turned down to create a low shimmering light. The man sat at a table, his back to the wall, leaning forward so that his hat was tilted down over his brow. His scarf was pulled up over his face, and he kept his coat on despite the coal fire burning in the corner. "Where is Finch?" he barked. The landlord shrank back. This lad, he got the message." He slipped out of the doorway as the man, Mr. Brown, turned towards Rubberbones. "Well?" Rubberbones pretended to be nervous in the company of this mysterious figure. This was an easy thing to do, as Mr. Brown was intimidating, even sitting at a table in an ordinary Yorkshire public house. Yes, sir. Got a message here, in me pocket." He reached into the pocket for the letter. Wrong pocket. He tried another. It wasn't there either. "Hurry up, boy. I assume this is from Finch." Yes, sir. Do you mean the knife grinder, sir?" "You know I do. Stop fidgeting and give me the message." Rab leaned forward, trying to study Mr. Brown's face as he rummaged through his pockets. The man's hat and muffler almost met. All he could see were two cold, dark eyes. Rab steeled himself. Sometimes you had to do something rash, something sudden, something stupid. Fortunately, Rubberbones was well accustomed to doing something stupid. Stupidity and he were old friends. As he checked his pockets again, Rab's fingers closed on the letter. He whipped it out in excitement and stumbled forward into the table. Arms flailing, he knocked the hat off Mr. Brown's head, and with one hand, while yanking down his scarf with the other, he jumped back, shouting, "Oops, sorry!" and reached into his pocket for the rubber bulb that would operate the secret camera. Only then did he look where the man's face should have been. Mr. Brown glowered at Rubberbones. He was hatless and scarfless. Most of all, he was faceless. This was a man completely without a face, like the Fiend without a face Rab had read about in the penny dreadful papers. Beneath his eye sockets, the man's features had been seared of all detail, leaving a white mass of scar tissue. There was no nose at all, except for nostrils quivering in rage, and no lips, only a gaping hole twisted in anger. Above the eyes was a smooth, bald scalp like a shining skull. Rubberbones opened his mouth, but he could do no more than squeak. He squeezed the bulb. The secret, silent miniature camera whirred loudly and emitted a small flash. A cloud of powder burst above Rab's middle shirt button. Ready Ek, he thought. Rab turned for the door handle as the horrific figure leapt over the table. "You little scoundrel," he began. Rab flung the door open and ran down the hallway. At the end of it he ducked left into the main room, the saloon bar, and came face to face with the landlord. Bert held a tray of empty glasses in his ham-like hands. "Stop that boy!" shouted Mr. Brown. He was 2 steps behind Rubberbones. Bert turned to block the way. Rab feinted to his left. The landlord stepped to his right in response. Rab dropped his shoulder to the right and dodged out under the tray. He raised his left elbow and sent the tray flying up into his opponent's face. Bert tried to catch all 16 glasses at once, lost his balance, and grabbed wildly at thin air, while glasses shattered on the flagstones below. Mr. Brown cannoned into him. They both fell in a heap, as glass splinters flew up in a shower of broken pint pots. Rab turned to look for a moment, pleased at his efforts. The barman's hand closed on his shoulder. "You aren't going anywhere, sonny."